Salute, salute, salute. Bow. It's Nocturnal Thoughts, man. What's happening? This gonna be a quick one. A response video. Back again for Zone 6. Big salute to Zone 6, man. The enforcer. A lot of y'all don't know this, but you know, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. Matter of fact, Decatur, Georgia, DeKalb County. Right on Tilson Road. Went to Tony Elementary, right across the street from Piggly Wiggly. Went to McNair Junior and McNair Senior High School. So I know about the dirty South growing up in the 80s. You dig? So I give a lot of my family still in Atlanta. But I don't live in Atlanta. I'm in Illinois. But big salute to Zone 6, man. Every time I hear him talk, it just brings back my memories of growing up. You dig? He made a video in response to my video, so I'm gonna make a response video to his response video. Building that perfect fighter, Terrence Bud Crawford. I must agree, if you was to build a perfect or design the model of a perfect fighter, and on one hand I had Errol Spence, and on the other hand I had Terrence Bud Crawford. At this point in time, I would say, all things taken under consideration, you would think Terrence Bud Crawford is a better designed fighter in and outside the ring. At this point in time, you know, prior to that, a couple of years ago, before the car accident, before the eye retina issue, before the time off in the another car accident, and then I would say, yeah, you take Earl Spence and you start putting some battle scars on him, and you put a dent in his chest and a patch on it, and you start to, and you see him having some issues with being inebriated. That does bring down his ability, or it brings down, it brought down, in my opinion, it brings down the idea of him being a perfect fighter. But at the same time, it's not like I'm looking at designing the perfect fighter and combating that fighter against a fighter that at one point in time seemed to be indestructible, and now he's been broken down and deconstructed and put back together, and now he's less. That's not the way I really look at this fight. That's not the way I look at these two fighters. I mean, technically, we all know Terrence Bud Crawford took a bullet to the dome, and he recovered from that. Errol Spence went through a car accident. He recovered from that. We've seen boxers have all kinds of, what you would say, unacceptable behavior as a fighter outside the ring. Tyson Fury, a little booger sugar. Sugar Ray Leonard dealt with some issues. Most fighters, Carl Monzoon had a problem with drinking alcohol. A lot of fighters, Manny Pacquiao was an alcoholic. Mayweather was probably one of the cleanest, versions of a fighter that, like, from the womb, when he come out the womb, you had his dad wouldn't even let him eat candy. He missed out on all kind of It was like Michael Jackson and Joe Jackson just took away this man's childhood so he can be the professional entertainer. Mayweather was so hard on Floyd. He came out the womb and he just developed a perfect fighter from the womb all the way up until now. You see him now really just enjoying his life. But up until then, he was just nothing but a fighter. Terrence Bud Crawford, he stepped away from the sport and came back. He did other sports. He did wrestling, you know what I'm saying? Then he was in the streets, and then he came back to boxing, and then he started to, you know what I'm saying, become more and more dedicated to being a great boxer. As far as his resume, now, like, I give Terrence Bud Crawford the credit of being disciplined, keeping his weight in check, not having a lifestyle that's contradicting your health, like drinking alcohol and gaining a bunch of weight and having fat camps. I give him that. Always have. You gotta salute that. I hate it when Errol Spence would blow up in weight and then cut down and look emaciated and look drained and not have his full strength. You talked about the Mikey Garcia fight and how Mikey Garcia, you know, he couldn't get Mikey Garcia out of there. He couldn't knock him out. He dominated Mikey Garcia. He put on a boxing clinic, but he couldn't knock him out. And you said Terrence Bud Crawford can do everything Mikey Garcia do times 5. And I like that. I like to say, hey, yeah, Mikey Garcia, he survived Errol Spence. He got dominated, but Mikey Garcia is not Terrence Bud Crawford. But Mikey Garcia, he beat the shit out of Adrian Broner. And at one point in time, Terrence Bud Crawford, by his own admission, was worried about fighting Adrian Broner. He said that was going to be his rival. Adrian Broner was going to be Terrence Bud rival in his mind. And when he came to the gym, he working on a heavy bag. And when Adrian Broner came into the gym, his nerves was getting to him. And he trying to play cool, and he just doing some light work. And he found out AB was cool. And they hooked up and played some basketball together. But Adrian Broner was supposed to be Terrence Bud Crawford rival in his mind. And Mikey Garcia beat the shit out of Adrian Broner to get to fight. The fight with Adrian Broner getting beat by Mikey Garcia was one of the only reasons why some people could see Mikey Garcia even being in a ring with Errol Spence. So you say Kell Brook and Sean Porter and Mikey Garcia and Yordenis Ugas all rolled into 1 times 5 as Terrence Bud Crawford. I mean, Errol Spence did go through a car wreck and he came back and fought Danny Garcia and dominated Danny Garcia. Now, I know this is the amateurs, and the amateurs don't count. Sparring don't count. Anytime these guys do anything together, playing basketball don't even count. As far athletic, nothing counts. In some people's opinion. I'm not saying in your opinion, but in most people's opinion, they say the amateurs don't count. But Danny Garcia and Terrence Bud Crawford, they fought the amateurs twice. I think they 1-1. So I don't think Terrence Bud Crawford is times 5 of Danny Garcia. I think he's better than Danny Garcia, but I don't know times 5. You say Yordenis Ugas, he can do everything Yordenis Ugas do times 5. And then I'm like, he fought Yordenis Ugas, maybe in the amateurs. I think they fought 1 or 2 times, maybe even more. And for what I understand, Yordenis Ugas got the best of Terrence Bud Crawford. I know it's the amateurs. But I still don't think Terrence Bud Crawford is 5 times of what Yordenis Ugas is. Sean Porter, he had an awesome fight against Errol Spence. It looked like to me Errol Spence was overlooking Sean Porter to a certain extent. Talking about I didn't even do strength and conditioning training. Yeah, I didn't like that. I thought Errol Spence was lacking, slipping, disrespecting the sport. And you could look at him and see he wasn't as solid as he usually would be. And he didn't put on the greatest performance, but he got just that 1 knockdown in the 11th round. Even though I liked the body work he was doing, just like, you like the work Devin Haney was doing on Lomachenko, I salute it. But Sean Porter got knocked out by Terrence Bud Crawford. Not knocked out. He got the towel thrown in by his dad, who was like, I threw in the towel because I knew I was going to throw in the towel because my son didn't train like he's supposed to train for this fight. Yeah, I think Terrence Bud Crawford is better than everybody that Errol Spence has fought. Kell Brook, I give you a lot of credit. Like you said, you break this side of the face starts to compensate. This trying to heal is going to pull from that side to heal. It's going to take all your, anytime you break anything, your body going to pull from wherever it can pull from to provide nutrients. And it's going to make you susceptible to injuries in other areas in your body. You could you could hurt yourself up here, and down your big toe could be hurt the next. Yeah, I get that. Compensation. I get how your body heals and regenerates. So with Errol Spence going through a car accident and his body regenerating, I can't even imagine how he even got back in the ring after that. Not to mention the fight Danny Garcia, who was knocking out guys like Granados, knocking out, Glass Chin, Amir Khan. But still, if I had been in an accident and flipped out of a car and had to get my whole teeth put back in, and you think of Danny Garcia hitting you with that hook, a lot of people thought Errol Spence was going to go to sleep. Yordenis Ugas, that was Danny Garcia daddy was looking. I looked in his eyes and you can tell he didn't have it in him no more fighting spirit. So it surprises me that we can still talk about Errol Spence versus Terrence Bud Crawford at this point, being that one has been through a car accident and the other one is 36 years old, even though he has really been like a war dog and really taking care of himself and, kind of encapsulated that idea of a perfect fighter lifestyle, as far as we know. But he's still human. I've still seen him show where he can be hurt. Like you said, how Mikey Garcia looked against Errol Spence, but he didn't have the physicalities to beat Errol Spence. I kind of look at the same fight with Terrence Bud Crawford and Hammer and Hank Lundy. When I watched that fight, the first couple of rounds, Hammer and Hank Lundy was putting on a brilliant performance against Terrence Bud Crawford. And I was looking at that dude like, if that dude was bigger and stronger and was still able to do those things for 12 rounds, he would have, to me, he was beating up Terrence Bud Crawford. He just was too little and got knocked out. Gamboa was hurting. Well, I'm not going to go down the whole line of resume. That shit can go tit for tat. For every opponent I've seen Errol Spence have a little issue with, I can look at Terrence Bud Crawford and see down the line of his resume where he had little issues too. At the end of the day, both these guys are undefeated. I ain't seen neither one of them knocked out. I only seen one of them knocked down by a B-level fighter, in my opinion, Green Machine, Egidius Kavalauskas. And I seen one guy hurt by a smaller Gamboa. I know you heard all this shit a million times, so I'm not going to regurgitate it. I respect what you're saying. I salute what you're saying. I do agree that as far as the discipline, the lifestyle, the athleticism, Terrence Bud Crawford brings a lot. That's why we always wanted to see this fight. And I feel like when I first started talking about this fight 4 years ago, it was a different fight in my mind. And I had to kind of rescope things after you've seen the car accident, after you've seen the Sean Porter. But, when I saw the Errol Spence that fought Yordenis Ugas, and I seen the Yordenis Ugas that fought Manny Pacquiao, and the Manny Pacquiao that fought Keith Thurman, and then I see the Terrence Bud Crawford that fought Sean Porter, even though Sean Porter was half ass in that shit. And then I seen the Terrence Bud Crawford that fought David Avanesian. I still say it's going to be a close fight, competitive fight. It depends on, what version of Errol Spence we get. I just have a better idea of what version we're going to get of Terrence Bud Crawford. But I'm saying this. If it's the same version of Errol Spence that fought Yordenis Ugas, but he's been preparing for Terrence Bud Crawford, so he's going to be even better and sharper and stronger and more durable without the rookie mistakes and the new mouthpiece. And Derek James has been sharpening him up. And, you still got Terrence Bud Crawford with pretty much Bomac and Bernie the Boxer. We'll see what happens in the fight. But I salute what you're saying. I had to re-evaluate to see if I would still 100% land on Errol Spence winning against Terrence Bud Crawford. You know what I'm saying? I really would have to wait to see what they look like when it comes to they training, they media workout, what they look like on the scale. But if Errol Spence looks dangerous and deadly and in shape and on point and focused and dialed in, and if Derek James is talking like, yeah, he's ready, he's hitting harder, he's turning over his punches, I've never seen him this focused and ready for a fight. I ain't never had no reason not to believe Derek James when he said that shit. It usually gets backed up in the ring. Let the best man win. I salute whoever wins. But if you ask me who I pick then, Errol Spence. Right now, who I pick, it would be Errol Spence, because I can't just change my pick without seeing no new evidence brought to the table that Errol Spence has just declined since the Yordenis Ugas fight. That's my video. That's my response video. Salute to Zone 6. Salute to anybody out there that's going to really promote this fight. And that's going to, hey, go subscribe to Zone 6 if you ain't already subscribed. I'm gone. I salute y'all. Peace. Wow.